So when I seen that we can't see in an absolute dark universe, we can't see in an absolute light universe, we can't see without understanding. I said, here goes the triple darkness. And I said, what's locked up in the God who brought forth his own self from this state? What message is in this for us? I know we don't receive knowledge from him like this unless he wants us to know something.
Right.
And what he wants us to know is himself, that we may know ourselves.
Right.
So I said, triple darkness. Okay. That led me to write a poem. Matter of fact, it led me to write 2 poems.
Right.
The first poem that I wrote was called Beyond Beauty. Q, would you read this poem?
Sure I will. Here we are.
I can't hear you.
Here we are, beyond beauty. Where is this? Don't you know? I cannot see, nor can I feel. This place we're in, is it real? Yes, it's real, and you can see. Look with your understanding and follow me. Are you prepared to take this flight? Beyond beauty, beyond the light? Yes, I am. For now I see. The light of you is really me. Into infinity I now do fly. My reason for living, I now know why. It is for you and you alone. My life is yours, my love your own. I am so thankful, unending, you know. My love forever, my work will show.
And I wrote that poem after I realized that. And I called it Beyond Beauty, and it was about man coming to know God. It was a realization.
Why beyond beauty?
Why Beyond Beauty?
Yeah.
Which led me to another poem.
But I mean that title.
Beyond Beauty is beyond the light.
Okay.
So I had to go beyond that state if I was to see what I'm looking for. And that was what produced it.
Okay.
So I wrote what you got there, V.
I am.
There we go. You want to read that?
Yes, sir, I will read that. Displeased with stillness, I moved, satisfying my imagination. I am the beginning. I imagined myself to be moving, spinning, spiraling out of my womb of darkness. Kum fire kum, be and it is. I am were the first words I imagined. Be was the first word I spoke. My cause for being is where my life is found. Destroy my cause, and you will take my life. Though my expressions are many, numbering that which no man can count, I changed not. What is greater than cause? What is more beautiful than expression? I am.
I am because I originated it all.
Yes, sir.
displeased with stillness, I did what?
Move.
I moved. So I said, let me test this. I want to test this to see if it's valid. So I said, brother, I want you to sit there in that chair as still as you possibly can be. Don't move. And the brother sit there in the chair for as long as he could. And then suddenly he moved. I said, brother, what caused you to move? He said, I was uncomfortable. I said, so was the God who created himself. He'd been in that darkness for so long. He'd been in that stillness for so long. He got uncomfortable with it. And being that he was the only one who had the power to change it, he so did. And when he moved, he changed everything.
Yeah. He set a whole new law in motion.
Set a whole new law. Time is something that people who don't know themselves are always concerned about.
This is true.
The reason is their whole life is based on time. We don't worry about time, nor concern ourselves about time, because we created it. Time is just a measurement of our motion moving from one point to another point. That's all it is. That's all it is.
So if you want to make time, just move.
That's all you have to do. That's how it's made. For motion. No movement, no time. So why should I govern myself by what is less than me? We had to give it meaning.
Right.
The only way we gave it meaning, the only reason we gave it meaning, was relevance to what we chose to do. Otherwise, it has no meaning.
And we're still talking about Tai Chi.
And we're still talking about Tai Chi. It's born of Wu Chi. I remember once I was with one of my teachers. He's Chinese. And he had Chinese guests from China visiting. And he said, he's not like many you know.
Referring to you.
Referring to me. And they looked at me and they looked at him. And he smiled. And the discussion was about Wu Chi. Wu Chi, in Chinese language, is a reference to the universe before anything was. And so, in this this discussion, they was attempting to define Wu Chi. And they said it was undefinable. I said, that's a mighty big statement you're making. And they looked at me, and I said, you assumed that. And they looked at each other. And I said, simply because you are at the end of your light, you assume that. Because at the end of your light, everything goes black. I said, but because you're at the end of your light, don't mean that I'm at the end of mine. So if your light is less than mine, then I can tell you more about what you want to know than what you do know.
Right.
And my teacher started laughing. He started laughing, and I wasn't trying to be arrogant, by no means. But they assumed that simply because they were at the extent of their knowledge, that no one else could define this as well.
Right.
I said, that's a mighty big assumption. We didn't mean for you to know more. That's why your light is limited. First of all, well, I won't go into that, but they have a limited light.
Yes, sir.
Our light is not limited, brother.
Yes, sir.
On page 15, paragraph 5, you say, you cannot control the power unless you practice balancing yin in yang and yang in yin. This is my question. You didn't say yin and yang. You're talking about balancing these powers within one another. How is that different from practicing them individually? Instead of one within the other, just yin and yang instead of yin in yang, and vice versa.
First of all, let me say this. It's a heavy statement, but I say this. I say in because you cannot practice them individually. Because you cannot generate motion with them individually. In order to generate motion, both must be practiced. Remember the saying of Tai-Chi? If they move,
They separate.
but what have to happen first?
Movement.
If they remain static,
They combine.
and what do you see?
Them together.
No. You see what existed before they appeared.
The one.
The one. Out of which they are merely representing distinct powers of the one. And I'm going to go a little bit with that in saying Why do you think you got testosterone? But the majority part of you is what?
Estrogen.
Why do you think you have estrogen? But the majority portion of you is what?
Testosterone.
That's something that can be studied. Why you appear the way you are today. This man, this woman. It's been a long time. A long time since the split occurred. But it happened that we may know the power of the one. This one on the scene today is the one. It's why it is said he is Alpha and Omega. He is the beginning and the end. His back represents the closing. His front represents the new beginning. And this new beginning is all about the one. Balance.
Balance, yes, sir.
So why is Tai Chi one of the best practices of learning to be aware of this yin-yang force?
Why?
Why?
Is it the what? Best?
Yes. Or
Because
the way that you're advocating.
it's real simple. Because it describes perfectly the one and the manifestation of his powers. Perfectly. Can you imagine for a moment controlling light and darkness? We have the power to do that. Do you think anyone other than the one would make you aware of such power?
No.
It's the only one that could.
Remember, triple darkness. Remember the mind. So, brother, thought is a real power, brother. One of the things it had is weight.
I remember he brought that to our attention.
And the one is able, if he's so willing, to put a thought on your mind that can be so heavy you can't get out of your seat. He can subdue you with just a thought. You know when you got a weighted thought
Yes, sir.
that you carrying around every day,
Yes, sir.
How do you feel carrying it, brother?
It stresses you. It tires you out. Mentally draining.
And
So what happens to the body?
The body is a reflection of that. You drag around like you got this weight on you and you can't get it off.
That's a powerful God who is able to do that.
I agree.
He knows his creation. And when I say he, that is not without the acknowledgement of she.
They are one.
I'm just speaking using one of my powers to manifest this thought. But two is definitely at work.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, I couldn't move my mouth. You have to have that other one. Otherwise, you would be worse than a piece of steel. It's what gives you flexibility. The arrogance of man won't allow him to realize his whole self. So he thinks he's stronger than what he really is.
Yes.
See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The real strong man really knows how to appreciate his woman. He knows the value of her. It's why he will protect her with his life.
Yes, sir.
Now, she must be pretty valuable if he's willing to protect her with his life without hesitation.
Yes, sir.
That's one who really knows the value of his woman. And so we break it off here. It's been really a pleasure, a great pleasure, and a great honor.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
thank you.
We hope to do this again and get deeper into the book. One thing I would like to say is this. Before we end this. Happiness.
Yes, sir.
Is the heaven of life.
Yes, sir.
Think on that.
Yes, sir.